you like a pepper-upper for your next event? Hi, I'm Dr. Debra Peppers. I hope I'll be the speaker at your next event. I'm Dr. Peppers, Shakin the Salt.
Spice up your event with Dr. Debra Peppers.
Greetings, my friends. I'm Dr. Peppers, Shakin the Salt. I'm Dr. Peppers, Shakin the Salt. I'm Dr. Peppers, Shakin the Salt. Back to you, gang. I'm Debra Peppers, Shakin the Salt.
I'm not for sure. Did she do this? Did she do this? Did she
think
sign
so.
off? Did she do that? All right, I just want to make sure because
think
my night could not go on if Deborah didn't do that. It's one of my favorite parts. I love that. I love that.
Our presenters for the next 6 Emmys are Dr. Debra Peppers, a National Teacher Hall of Fame recipient and host at KJSL.
Listen to her endorsement by sportscaster Bob Costas.
Debra Peppers, who earned her Master's of Arts in Teaching from Webster University, was also a youngster who overcame setbacks to become a huge success. Debra was a high school dropout who reluctantly returned to school and then met a person who changed her life forever, a teacher.
Wow, like the Charlie Brown intercom coming through my ears. But you know what? Miss Alma gave me hope. For the first time, I had this little ounce of hope. And I started watching Miss Alma. And she started encouraging me. And there is a phrase that says, flatter me and I may not believe you. Criticize me and I may not like you. Ignore me and I may not forgive you. But encourage me and I'll never forget you. Isn't that great? Yes.
As a teacher of English and drama, Debra has inspired students to believe in themselves. Elected to the National Teachers Hall of Fame in 1999, Debra is also on the faculty at Webster, where she inspires new teachers to help better the lives of students. Because Debra believes that education is more than just a degree. It's real knowledge for real-world success.
A dynamic public speaker for over 25 years and an active member of the National Speakers Association, Dr. Peppers has motivated thousands of audiences, traveled in all 50 states and over 50 foreign countries. From keynoting with Elizabeth Dole and Robert Schuller at the Crystal Cathedral to speaking to educators in Zimbabwe or business and industry, Dr. Peppers is equally at home.
I'd love to customize a presentation for your event, whether you need a conference keynote or a banquet speaker or just a good dose of motivation. I'm the woman for the job. I have 20 different topics from which to choose, from stress management to leadership, health and wellness, ethics in the workplace, communication styles, succeeding with difficult people. I'll even write your group an original song or poem and always add humor.
Hilarious!
Here she is being interviewed on Main Street, introducing her book.
It's your turn now.
It would be so easy to drop the Hall of Shame part because I'd love to say, yeah, it's all glamorous and fun and exciting. But if we don't go back and look where we came from, and everybody has a story.
And there was a woman who encouraged you.
She had the little gray bun and she had the ditto purple fingers, you know, the old ditto machines, remember those?
Yeah.
And I thought she had these varicose veins in her forehead because she streaked her hair back. Miss Alma was standing in the hall about my 3rd time after being reinstated by the superintendent. And Miss Alma said, Debbie, come here. And now they were calling me jailbird because my parents had let me spend the night in jail. And now I see Miss Alma standing at the end of the hall. This is the approach that teenagers today would have given. From the girls, this is the one I hate the most. Whatever. And that's what I was thinking on the inside, but I didn't. I liked Miss Alma. I was being polite to her, but I sure didn't want to go into her room, because the minute you walked into Miss Alma's room, laid out gerunds, prepositions, the literature we've been studying, everything you've ever missed was in order, so you could just look at your little book and see what you needed to make up. And I knew that's what she wanted, and she said, Debbie, come here, come here. And I went, oh. So I waddled down to Miss Alma, and she looked around to make sure nobody else was out in the hall, and she opened the door and she said, come on in. And I'm like, oh, great. And I expected her to go straight for those trays of papers, and instead, do you know what Miss Alma Sitton did? She did the most paradoxical, the most unspeakable,
the most unbelievable thing that had ever happened to me. Miss Alma, as she let us call her, closed the door and put her arms around me. And she squeezed as tight as she could, and she whispered, "Debbie, God's gonna do something great with your life if you'll let him. And I'm here for you too." And then she just let go, and she smiled, and she gave me a little pat. And then she went for the dangling participle present positions and the grammatical phrases and the...
Dr. Pepper's story of Miss Alma is featured in Chicken Soup for the Teacher's Soul, and a new 10-year anniversary edition called Living Your Dreams features Dr. Pepper's life story as well. For 10 years, Dr. Peppers was a trainer and consultant for Lee Cantor, teaching assertive discipline, succeeding with difficult students, and the high-performing teacher. Debra incorporates humor as well as poignant stories from her own life as she personally passes it on to each audience.
There was a unique problem with the lipstick. 12-year-old girls in the bathroom at school on the mirror. They were trying on their new shades, and all of the girls were kissing the mirror. So at the end of the day, the poor custodian would come in there and think, "Oh, these girls can't even see yourself. All is on there is this lipstick." So the principal and the custodian came together, and they came up with a great idea. They called all of those young girls into the bathroom and said, "Now you see all of these lip prints," and the girls were sitting here going, "Wasn't me. No, not me. I'm fine. I'm perfect. No, we wouldn't do that." And they're all watching this, and then the custodian solves it all. He has this long-handled squeegee, and he said, "Girls," I can see him kind of like a Barney Fife. "Now, girls, I want you to see what I have to do to clean off these mirrors." And he took the long-handled squeegee, and he dipped it in the toilet, and he scrubbed the mirror, and he dipped it again, and he scrubbed the mirror. And pretty soon, those little girls were wiping off their lipstick, and they never had a problem with that one again. There are educators, and there are educators.
I have learned so much from other cultures, and one of my greatest foreign country experiences was Texas. Any Texans in here? Good. Oh, there's one. Okay, maybe you've heard this then. They say, "Don't squat with your spurs on." That was the name of the book. I said, "Well, thank you." I'm up on the stage. "Oh, thank you." And then he said, "Here's my favorite one. If your horse dies, get off." Good wisdom. Where in Texas? El Paso. Out in the West Texas town of El Paso. Good.
It's a new Teacher Survivor series. It's coming out second term here. You ready? You didn't hear about this? They're holding auditions for 6 CEOs of Fortune 500 companies who will be dropped off on a deserted island to see if they can teach.
Who has an older one? Who has a teenager that's just like you? Can you come down here? Now see, you knew when you raised your hand I was going to ask you to come. Just like the kids. She raised hers first, it's not fair. I saw yours. You said, "Yes, you're talking about me." This is Tracy. Okay. Tracy Burton here, ladies and gentlemen.
Dr. Peppers has been a featured speaker at the Kennedy Center and the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., where as a Hall of Fame recipient, she was seen on C-SPAN, CNN, ABC, and received national recognition. For 10 years, Debra hosted a daily radio program, Talk from the Heart, with Debra Peppers. She interviews national personalities and celebrities, authors, and professionals. In addition to hosting a daily radio program for a number of years, Dr. Peppers hosted a segment on St. Louis television called See Here. Even the president was shaking the salt with Dr. Peppers.
For the arrival of President George W. Bush and the First Lady, we know that in a few minutes this will be a hubbub of activity. I
was thrilled when I got to shake the president's hand, but someone amongst you got to hug the president. Who was it? Point to the one. Miss Yoakley, your teacher, hugged the president?
Yes, I did.
We're all in need of a little motivation and inspiration now and then. And because we're all kids at heart, allow Dr. Peppers to bring her unique style to your next event. Debra's high energy and motivational techniques keep her audiences involved and interactive. She leaves them with tools and practical techniques to apply to both their personal and professional lives. The audience evaluations go off the chart, for when Debra speaks, each audience member feels as if she's talking directly to them. And she is.
And if we had a drum roll here.
Dr. Peppers has also been interviewed on numerous radio and television programs, nationally and internationally.
Well, good afternoon, my friends.
Because here's what the kids are really saying. They're saying, I'd rather see your lesson than hear it any day. I'd rather you should walk with me than merely point the way. For my eye is a better learner, much more willing than my ear. Your words can be confusing, but your example's always clear. For the best of parents, teachers, kings, are those who live their creed, and to see good put into action, that's what I really need. I can learn what all I should be if you show me how it's done, and I can follow every move you make, but your words too fast may run. And those lectures you deliver may be very wise and true, but I'm more apt to learn my lesson by observing what you do. For I may misunderstand you in that great advice you give, but there's no misunderstanding when I see the way you live.
Debra would love to talk to you about personalizing and making your next event special, dynamic, and interactive. The National Hall of Fame member who will spice up your next event, Dr. Debra Peppers.
Wouldn't you like a pepper-upper for your next event? Hi, I'm Dr. Debra Peppers. I thank you for visiting my website and check out my information, and I hope I'll be the speaker at your next event. I'm Dr. Peppers, Shakin the Salt.